It's going crazy out there, y'all. The world is crazy. Oh my goodness. We over in the Middle East, we dropping bombs on people. And I'm sure some of you guys are going, man, what do we do with this? How do we navigate this as Christians? And so as young Christians, I want to give you some help in understanding what's going on over there. Just a quick breakdown, and then also help you understand, like, who are the Ayatollahs, what's going on, and what should Christians be thinking? How can you navigate this season that feels very uncertain, very scary, and what God says about it? So let's go ahead and talk about this. Why are the Iranians celebrating? What's making them celebrate? Aren't we attacking their country? Well, here's what you need to understand. The Ayatollahs are the religious group that have been governing Iran since 1979. All right. So you have this guy, it's hard to say his name, Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, led a revolution that overthrew the king of Iran. And they replaced him with a theocratic system. Now, if you don't know what theocratic is, that means it's run by God, but there are people in place that are telling you what God is saying. So these are religious leaders, and this created a supreme leader. This person is like second to God for the people who believe in this. And although Iran did have a Muslim concept and a Muslim religion before, this took it to a whole nother level. And so it was unelected. There were no term limits. The final authority over the military was the religious system. So whatever the religion says, that's what the military does. So after the first guy, Khomeini, I'm sure I'm butchering these names, y'all, because I don't know how to speak this language. But I believe it's his son took over in 1989 and has ruled for a decade. So this is the guy who just died. Okay, this is the guy who just took over. Well, who took over, and then now he is dead. So why are they celebrating? Why are the Iranians celebrating? And it is because these were not their people, and they have been under this regime, this rulership. They had political opponents imprisoned, protests were crushed, thousands were executed over the years, thousands upon thousands were killed through terrorist activity. So they were financing, sponsoring, and even carrying out terrorist activities all over the world through this regime. Christian converts were killed, imprisoned, arrested. Missionaries got kicked out. House churches were raided. Their slogan is "Death to America," y'all. Death to America. These are the people that were being supported. The Hamas and all these kind of people are the same people that the Ayatollahs were supporting. Death to America is their slogan. Death to the West. They hate the Christianity. They hate the West. And so now the Iranians are going, hey, the Americans are helping us, and they are helping us to become free again. So this is why they're celebrating. Okay, so why did we go there in the first place? And I think this is where it gets kind of crazy and we start asking the big questions, right? And there's different sides. People are like, we shouldn't have gone. People are like, we should have gone. And so if we were to give you just kind of what they're showing us and what they're telling us, Trump is saying that, Donald J. Trump is saying that there's an imminent threat, not just right now, but also in the future, of them gaining nuclear abilities. And so that's increasing. And for people who say death to America, if you get a nuclear bomb, what are you going to do with that stuff? And then you have their ballistics and their ability to blow things up with simple things like drones. So let's just say a drone costs $2,000 for them to make. And this is legit cost. And it costs us $4 million to build something that can seek it out and blow it up, because you can't just have a person manning something and expect it to hit. So you have to have, technology. Well, it's 4 million to 2,000. Well, they can make a ton of these, but we can't make a ton of these. And so they begin to increase in what they can do, and we're not able to stay up to their level. So now what happens? They become increasingly dangerous. So he's going, let's take them out now while we still can, instead of something worse happening down the road. Also, apparently Israel was going to be doing a strike anyway. Told us, and they're like, well, we already needed to do this. Let's go ahead and just join with them. Why? Because once Israel strikes, Iran's going to strike back, which we've already seen. And then we start seeing our American lives being lost at a higher rate than if we were to just boom, 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 take them out, and then it leaves people safer. So those are the sins that they're looking at: national security, protecting our allies, stopping the nuclear threat, peace through strength, and that is a thing. I know everybody wants to be like, oh, why don't we just talk to them and be nice? They don't want to be nice. That's the thing. Like, I'm all down with bullies, right? With telling them, hey, talk to the bullies, pray for the bullies, but at some point, they don't want to be talked to. At some point, you got to knock them on their butt and show them that you're not going to mess with us. And this is not just me talking. This is actually biblical. All right. We see this happen in the Bible. And so my point is that they are a radical regime that is saying we want to kill and to take over the world. We see it happening many different ways. So sometimes the only way to do that is through force. The other side is saying, well, this is going to escalate things and the instability in the world, which is possible. Congress should authorize major military action. So that's in order to go to war, actual declared war, Congress has to authorize it. But the president, according to the War Powers Act, can take military action. He's got 48 hours in order to tell Congress, and then he's got 60 days to carry this thing out, and then another 30 days to withdraw. So he can't stay there permanently. He can't just be there. So there's a limited time for him to just make this move. So some people are saying he can't do this. Some people are saying, well, actually, he can because of the War Powers Act. We should say diplomacy first, force last. And let me just tell you, Trump tried. All right. I'm not saying it's, oh, Trump. I like some of his stuff. I don't like some of his stuff. But you can tell that he talked with them. He tried. We bombed their nuclear site. Tried. And now it's like, all right, we just got to do something here. So long wars cost lives and resources. That's one of the arguments too. And that's true. And if we stay there for a long time, this is going to be a problem. I do not want to be there for a long time. My hope is that they're making wise decisions, that they know what they're doing. And other military actions that we've done have been very short. This one may be longer, but I hope it's short, and hopefully no actual boots and physical soldiers need to go onto the ground. We're praying for the ones who are there. Now, so that being said, what should Christians think? How do we process this? Because if you're like me, your feed, your social media feed, maybe your school, your classmates, your parents are talking about this thing, and everybody's got an opinion. You know what they say? Opinions are like butts. Everybody's got them, and they all stink. I'm keeping that. So how should Christians think about this? One of our problems is that we have this mindset in America that you have to be completely committed to a side, right? Republican and Democrat isn't just a party. It's like a religion. It's like if you think anything different than what we think, then you're not a Republican or you're not a Democrat. And listen, we are kingdom people. We are not party people. Party people! So we need to think about this biblically first. But what do you do with something like this? Well, you don't know all the information. Let me tell you, there's stuff they know that we don't know. There's stuff all these people are saying that they're just making up out of their butts. They don't know what's going on. All right? So in Proverbs 18:17, it says, the one who states his case first seems right, until the other comes and examines it. What's it saying? The first thing you hear is the thing you think is right. And then somebody else is going to say something different, like, ooh, that sounds wrong. Ooh, that sounds wrong. Ooh, that sounds wrong. Ooh, where's the popcorn, right? And so when you look at it like that, you understand that there's going to be different sides. So instead of just hearing one side and jumping to a conclusion, you go, okay, I hear what you're saying. What's this side saying? And hear the different sides and weigh them before you come to a conclusion. Don't just go, oh, Trump sucks, or oh, Trump's the best, or we should be going, we shouldn't be going. Wait, listen, do you have all the facts and information? We jump on whatever bandwagon we hear playing first. Here's another thing. Proverbs 18:13. It says, spouting off before listening to the facts is both shameful and foolish. Withhold judgment until you hear more. We are the type of people in America, soon as something happens, everybody's got an opinion. Soon as something happens, everybody's running. Everybody, did you hear? This is going on, right? Why? Because they want to be the first ones to say something. Because then they become the authority on it. But the reality is, a lot of times they end up being wrong. And then they got to walk it back, or they have to double down on it. It says, spouting off before you hear all the facts is foolish and shameful. Listen to the facts. This is why I kind of waited. I wanted to hear more about what was going on, hear what different people were saying, hear what the president was saying before I gave some thoughts on this thing. You don't have to take a side. Hear me? But the reality is you can actually have your own opinion. Let's bring back having your own opinion, shall we? But with all this war talk, things can feel scary, huh? I know. It kind of makes you go like, man, what's the future look like? Are we going to be in a war? What's it going to do with my education? Are they going to bring back the draft? Are they going to, all these kind of crazy things. In Daniel 4:17, it says, the decision is announced by messengers. The holy ones declare the verdict, so that the living may know that the Most High is sovereign over all kingdoms on earth and gives them to anyone he wishes and sets over them the lowliest of people. He's saying the Lord is sovereign over all kingdoms. Guys, I know we have nations at war. And I want you to understand that God has always used nations to punish nations. He used Israel to punish nations. He used Babylon to punish Israel. And make no mistake, this was a threat. This was a spiritual threat, and this was a natural threat who killed thousands upon thousands of people. And it is very likely that God used America to dole out punishment to this regime. Doesn't mean you have to like Trump. Doesn't mean Trump's a Christian. Doesn't mean God uses nations to punish nations. But I believe that God also wants to free these people of Iran, and many Iranians are coming to Christ. God is the one who's in control. In Matthew 24, it says that you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. This is not something new. This is not something crazy, but the end is not yet come. In John 16:33, he says, in this world you will have troubles, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. You're going to end up with some issues. There's going to be some problems. Just being a Christian doesn't ensure that you never go through things, but it ensures that God is with you through all things. You know, one of my favorite things to tell people is that the power of being a Christian is that Jesus' death and resurrection and following him was so final, so victorious, that even the worst thing that could happen to you is the best thing that could happen to you. I want you to think about that. The worst thing that could happen to you is what? People would say death. Why is it the best thing? Because that leads us into eternity. The devil can't even use death against us anymore. Oh, death, where is your sting? Jesus has a complete victory. So when you follow Jesus, you don't have to walk around in fear or worry. He is sovereign over all kingdoms. Be of good cheer. He's overcome the world. Hopefully this gives you some insight into what's going on. If this helped you, please like, subscribe, show your friends. I'm Joshua, and my goal is to help young Christians love God passionately and live their faith boldly. God bless you. We'll see you next time.
Join the revolution.